Hey everybody! Today's video is how to make a personal introduction video, a short 1-minute introduction that you can put online that will tell the world who you are. Hi, my name is Crystal. I am a producer based in San Francisco, California. I attended Stanford University where I majored in biology, the study of life. Some pageants are now asking that contestants submit a short video which they will then put online to be publicly viewable for fans and viewers to watch, to create some buzz over, and to ultimately cast votes. Some of those votes will go into People's Choice, which will either then be a separate scholarship, a distinction presented on stage, or even a spot as a finalist. My year at Miss America, the People's Choice winner actually got her own slot in the top 15. Some pageants, though, aren't really doing it for competition. They just want it as a part of the application. They want to get a sense of who you are, where you're from, how you communicate, and your energy. So regardless of whether this video is going to be a part of your competition or not, it's something that could be good for your resume too, in your professional endeavors. This video will teach you how to do it on your own. If you want to hire a professional, that is great. If you have the resources to do that, fabulous. But even if you solicit the help of someone professional, you're still going to need to do your homework to decide what your script is, where you're going to film, and the overall vision. If you do have a friend who has a nice camera or friends who are video producers and know how to edit, great. Solicit their help, bring them on board. Just be resourceful in how you approach doing this video. If you don't have the means to hire someone and you don't have any video production friends, that is a-okay as well. I have a sample video that I made that is only 1 minute and it was shot with my iPhone. So you don't necessarily need a lot of money, you just need to know how to use what you got. All right, let's get started. The first step begins with deciding what you want to say and writing it down. This is establishing the content. What you say is the audio track of this video, and that essentially lays the groundwork and the structure for the entire piece. When you write this down, make sure that you record yourself speaking and going through it in a conversational tone, and make sure it doesn't exceed the allotted time. You really want to follow instructions and respect the directions you are given and not go over the time. You also want to make sure there's enough time for pauses, natural breathing room. You don't want your 1-minute script to sound like a car commercial, 0% financing, APR, da, da, da. It still needs to be well-paced and balanced. Some areas to cover in your content are where you're from, where you went to school, your hobbies, your job, your platform, your social impact initiative, a brief story that shares your values, and how it relates to the competition or the opportunity at hand. The next thing is to look at locations. Look at the themes that come out of your script and think about places that would make sense for you to be at when this video is being played for your viewer. For example, for me, I talk a lot about my social impact initiative, which is Forever Food Banks. And instead of me being at a food bank, I decided to add some footage of me gathering groceries and pantry items. So this reinforces the story that I'm trying to tell visually, using footage that is an industry term called B-roll. B-roll is any footage that doesn't have audio to it. And this is usually layered on top of your speaking track to further enhance and amplify and reinforce the story that you're trying to tell. So for instance, if you are a piano player and you talk about how much you love piano and how much you've learned playing the piano, you're going to want to find B-roll from past performances, B-roll of you rehearsing, B-roll of you cleaning your piano, just anything that helps tell the story of you and your relationship to that piano. So even though you will be speaking about the piano in a separate interview, or a self-introduction, the B-roll of you interacting with that piano, playing the piano in the same frame as the piano, all that stuff is good B-roll that just really helps tell your story. So you want to think about locations that will help you tell your story, whether it is your job or a hobby or you doing your platform. This just helps you think like a producer. So I talked about writing down your content, your script, timing it, making sure it fits within the 1 minute or the allotted time. Then I talked about locations. You want to make sure that you film in a place that makes sense to help amplify and reinforce your story. I talked about B-roll, B-roll being the footage that you will then be layering on top of what you're talking about in your content. And next, you want to think about delivery style. Delivery style is the style of how you are speaking to camera. So you kind of have three main options. One option is you speak direct to camera, which is what I'm doing right now. In my example, this is the route that I take. I serve my community through my social impact initiative. The second option is to do like documentary style, where the person speaking is actually talking to someone just off camera, sort of like this, as if I were speaking to a producer. Why yes, I actually do love making videos, and this is exactly why I decided to start a YouTube channel, because I wanted to share my knowledge. If you watch a lot of documentaries, you'll notice that the authorities that are speaking are often not speaking directly to camera, they're speaking to someone just off camera right here. This could be really good if you tend to get nervous speaking directly into a lens. You can recruit a friend, a family member, a sibling, a teacher, someone to ask you some questions just next to the camera, and you can talk to this person. Sometimes we get much more natural when we're talking to a real person rather than just a device. So you kind of have to, evaluate what style you want to go with. Speaking directly to camera can be a little bit more personal for the viewer. Speaking to someone off camera, though, can make you have a better performance, and it could offer kind of a more professional documentarian style to your video. So it just depends. You can either speak directly to the camera or you can speak to someone off camera. The third option, which I don't super recommend for this type of video, but is still very doable for other videos, like professional videos, is just to do a voiceover. The voiceover is only a recording of your voice going through the script. It's still your voice, it's still clean audio, but you don't have the pressure of having to deliver it directly to a camera. And by the way, if you don't feel like you can deliver everything all in one take, that's absolutely all right. That's what B-roll is for. B-roll comes in to basically hide a cut. So if I say something and I'm like, and I mess up, I can just snip this part and I can put something else on top of it. Remember, it's all about storytelling. So as long as you can hide where you messed up, you kind of want to chop that off beforehand, you're able to then put something else on top of it so that the viewer is still being pulled in and visually engaged to kind of follow along with your story. So in summary, the three delivery styles are speaking directly to camera, speaking just off camera, or the third option, which is just doing a voiceover, in which the pressure's off, you don't have to deliver any line to camera, you can just read your script into a microphone and then lay that down as an audio track with B-roll, photos, video that, again, reinforce what you're talking about. At this point, you should have a general idea of what your video is shaping out to be, because you have your script, which is the very first step, you have your locations, you have your B-roll, you've chosen how you want to be seen on camera, and if you even want to be seen. The last thing left is to actually schedule the shoot. I'd highly recommend that you bring a friend, some production assistant, someone there to help you, and you want to schedule this as early as possible. That is because if you're not used to doing this, you will probably want to give yourself a buffer so that if you have to refilm anything, you have time to do that. Then I would set aside at least a week for editing so that by the time everything is done, you're not rushed and you're able to deliver your video on time by the deadline. Now I'm going to transition to a couple of really key tips, and two of them are tactical and non-negotiable. The very first thing is that wherever you film your interview, you want to film somewhere quiet. This is absolutely important. In the world of video production, if your picture is kind of blurry and your photo has some issues, it is still usable as long as the sound is clean. You have to be somewhere quiet for this. I really cannot stress it enough. So often contestants are like, oh, I want to go film by the Golden Gate Bridge or go film at the park or do an interview outside. But the truth is, outside there are so many factors you can't control. You could have seagulls, you could have cars, you could have children screaming, you could have someone honking their horns. And all those sounds will ruin your sound because all of those things are not being filmed. So like contextually, the viewer is like, what? Like, what is happening? We learn so much and we glean so much from audio that it's really important that it is very clean and that nothing but your voice can be heard. So that's the very first thing. It has to be a quiet location. The second thing is you want to film in front of a window or somewhere that has a lot of light on your face. I don't think you should film outside unless you have something called a bounce, which is basically this shiny thing that bounces light back up in your face. That's pretty advanced though. I really recommend that you just stand somewhere inside in front of a window, but you have to stand in front of a window correctly. Anytime you want to film your face, stand in front of some light source. It could be a window, it could be a ring light, it could be literally any source of light possible. This just really fills in your face and it helps the device you're filming from work better, because cameras are just like eyeballs. They work best when there's light, because if there's no light, your footage can look really grainy. I'm going to show you what it looks like when I am not standing in front of the window in the correct way. A big mistake people make is they stand in front of a window facing the wrong direction. So as you can see, I'm very backlit. My face is very dark. You can't see much. Generally, I only use natural light, but today, because it's raining, I am using a ring light too. The brighter the light source, if you're standing in front of it, the less you're gonna be able to see, because the light coming in from the window and my ring light is essentially going straight into the lens and challenging its ability to be able to pick up and make out what's happening here. So this doesn't look that cute. What you really wanna do, just to remember, is stand in front of the light source with the light on your face, okay? You want to be like that Hollywood movie star with the spotlight in your face. My other tip is that for B-roll, you wanna think movement, variety. The more visual variety, the better, because it keeps our viewers engaged and it just makes for a more dynamic segment. To edit your piece, you don't have to buy any expensive software. You can download some free software online. If you have an Apple device, iMovie is free. And if you're a little bit more advanced, you can download this program called DaVinci Resolve. It's actually very robust. They have some really great coloring features. It takes a little bit more of a learning curve than iMovie, but it is fabulous. Now for music, if you want to choose a background track for your piece, great. Just make sure that the volume is not too high though. A very common mistake is for the background musical track to be so high you can't quite hear what the person is saying. Just make sure that those levels are brought down so that when you're telling your story, the viewer can hear you very easily. You also want to ask your pageant organizers, hey, where is this video being shown? If it's being hosted on YouTube, for example, YouTube has a lot of strict commercial licensing issues with music. I'm including a list below of some sites where you can find some license-free music. And lastly, be creative. Video is such an open-ended medium. There are so many possibilities. If a photo is worth 1,000 words, 10 seconds of video must be worth 1,000,000 words. Just enjoy the journey, and remember, if you're gonna film yourself speaking, be somewhere quiet. If you are filming yourself being seen, stand in front of a window or some sort of light source. That is going to be the most flattering. It'll just lift you and make you look really glowy. If you do have some budget, I'd highly recommend that you invest in a microphone. A microphone will make your voice sound a lot cleaner, a lot crispier, and I'll show you an example of what it sounds like with a mic and without. Hi, my name is Crystal. I am a producer based in San Francisco, California. Hi, my name is Crystal. I am a producer based in San Francisco, California. Big difference, huh? Well, I'm going to show you the rest of my 1-minute video right now that I made just to give you a sample of how to do it yourself with your iPhone. Take a look. Hi, my name is Crystal. I am a producer based in San Francisco, California. I attended Stanford University where I majored in biology, the study of life. But you want to know what gives me life? Food. I am such a foodie. I love to cook food. I love to prepare food. I definitely love to eat food. You probably love to eat food too, right? Who doesn't? Delicious. But my passion for food doesn't end with just cooking and eating. I serve my community through my social impact initiative called Forever Food Banks, which I started in 2014. Every month I round up 200 pounds of donated dry goods and groceries for underserved communities. This helps families put healthier and more nutritious meals on the table without a financial burden. I don't think beauty is just about someone wearing a crown or some elusive, unattainable goal. It's actually all around us in the everyday things, from what we do for others, to the way we treat other people, to the little touches and details that bring us joy. Something that would bring me a lot of joy is if you cast your vote for me at MissAsianGlobal.com. I'll see you on stage. Bye! Follow me on social media at Crystal Clues. Hire me as your next head of marketing. Give me a call to schedule an interview. I'll see you there. Thank you for spending your time with me. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, like this video. It will help me elevate in the algorithms of YouTube, and subscribe for future videos if you're interested. I'll see you there. Bye. Take a look at some of the other ones I've done right here. Like an Asian Vanna White. Wheel of Fortune, anybody? And you can subscribe right here.